I was inspired by this film, so I actually did a little magical creature tracking of my own. I discovered a rare subspecies of Pegasus that I've named the Ponius monotrixium, or Monotrix for short. Now the thing that makes the Monotrix different is a lot of fantastic beasts can do a lot of cool things, but the Monotrix can only do one thing, even though it does it very well. Now I have tracked the Monotrix to several parts of the world, one being Yate, that's J.K. Rowling's backyard, one being Wellington, New Zealand, and of course, several sightings in Nicasio, California. And if you understand that joke, you've just sighted a rare Canadian beast, the Humerus obscurit. J.K. Rowling has gone on record as saying this is not a prequel to any Harry Potter film. Drinking game, anytime I say this is not a prequel, take a shot. And if my students are watching, I mean a shot of delicious chocolate milk. There's something about this time of year that just everybody has to love. Hot cocoa, warm sweaters, frigid family gatherings, and of course, some of the greatest cinematic franchises always have installments in November or December. Legacies like Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, and Harry Potter always come around this time of year. It just seems natural, like snowfall. You sit down, the theater goes dark, and you hear... or maybe even... and you just... feel at home. You feel warm inside, and you feel like you've been reunited with a different part of your fictional family. And Fantastic Beasts open up with that music, so you kind of feel at home right away. But it's not a prequel. I do have to say, whether or not this is an actual official prequel or not, I did enjoy the fact that it wasn't a lateral temporal move. That this prequel, not a prequel, actually brought a lot more to the world of Harry Potter. Making it take place in the 1920s, I think actually automatically gave it a little bit of subtext, which you don't typically get in the other Potter films. Possibly because at the heart of them, they're basically children's films. But in Fantastic Beasts, having it set in post-World War I and pre-World War II, you get this great sense of unbalance, and it's actually mirrored in the wizarding world. There are even some moments where we learn about a wizard war. Wait, there was a wizard war? I want to see a wizard war. Now, of course, any Potterhead worth his mettle knows that this is not the global wizard war that they're discussing. That takes place in 1945. They do, however, set up this great climax that presumably will happen in a future film. And I was very interested to hear that. You know, the climax between the dark wizard Grindelwald and a young Dumbledore. But it's not a prequel. I'd also like to take this time to thank my sister for making me look like a Potterhead expert. But the not a prequel history of this prequel was only a small part of the story. In fact, having it set in the 1920s had a lot of cool factors, and one of my favorite factors was the look of this world and its characters. Flappers, gangsters, slick cars, speakeasies, and the rise of Hollywood, there's something so magical about that time period, and the nostalgia really pays off. Production designers Stuart Craig and James Hambidge pull it off nicely, and I think not only the time period, but having the world expanded into America really brings something refreshing to this story. It's not the same old for a lot of reasons. But Stu Cray and Old Hammy here don't hold a snitch to this artist. I have previously praised the work of costume designer extraordinaire Colleen Atwood, a woman who has dazzled you with Beauty and Memoirs of a Geisha, a series of unfortunate events, and pretty much everything Tim Burton has ever done. I was personally tipped over the edge and fell in love with the costume simply because of one character. Never mind the other hundreds of glamorous dresses, fedoras, and cool suits she had to create. It was one character design, that of Colin Farrell's Graves, that was near perfect. Extravagance is always good and always fun to watch in a movie, especially a movie like this. It's a period piece, it takes place in a magical world, but when you have a whimper of understated simplicity, that's when you know that an artist is truly paying attention to what he or she is doing. I almost never talk about costumes to this level of detail, but it was the simplicity that really just made the art itself beautiful. The simple black and white color scheme, the overturned collar on his vest, and most importantly, the split from the cuff of his sleeve to the seam in his shoulder. There were so many cool details that it was an outfit I want to wear in real life. And you better believe that makes Colleen Atwood for the win. Okay, Tim Gunn, move on already. I think we're losing the male demographic. There were a lot of great character actors at the peak of their ability in this film. Colin Farrell is a perfect example of that. His Percival Graves was menacing, but still cool. And to no one's surprise, Eddie Redmayne was almost perfect as Newt. He He was animalistic, sheepish, and awkward. His movements made him seem like a beast himself. And you gotta love those haircuts. Oh, Doctor, look at that one. Oh my god, that's the new Flash. Yes, Ezra Miller is unrecognizable. I guess the perks of being a wallflower have run out. But aside from those three actors, I really didn't find myself interested in any of the other characters. Now, as I mentioned before, that's because inherently of two major issues. Number one, these characters are adults. You don't really feel for them. You don't fear for them, especially when compared to precocious British school children. But that's only one reason for that also aforementioned lack of charm. The other being that this is an introductory film. You're meeting a lot of new characters, some that you're not really invested in simply because you're meeting them for the first time. But it also means that the filmmakers are often looking ahead when they should be focusing on what they're doing now. It did do its job though. It's a beautiful film to watch, like the other Rowling magical films, not Potter. And the fact is, it set up future films, and I'm actually more interested in the future films than I was in this one. I'm interested to see all the cool things that we know are going to happen pre-Potter. Blah blah blah, not a prequel. Drink! It is a solid film. Not great, not fantastic, but still good. And that makes it and earn it. Now that you're a little more comfortable, why not stay in all night, order a pizza, watch Real School? Poll question, what is your favorite prequel? It isn't a prequel! As always, leave your answers in the comments section below. Be sure to subscribe to Real School, follow me on Twitter, and of course, if you get anything out of Real School, you can always give a little back. Just click the link, and you can become part of my Patreon team. But until next time, school's out.